I'll open
Guys,
it right up
gals,
for
hey.
questions for Coach Thacker.
We asked Coach Pat what he's looking for tomorrow night. What are you looking for?
Yeah, so I had a chance to answer that a minute ago. We talk about having an effort-based defense and a leverage-based defense. So the things that we communicate the most: effort-based, leverage-based, and then putting an emphasis on taking the ball away. So those are the things that we emphasize the most. That's what we want to see. And whether you're a critical coach and a high-level football mind in the fan, hopefully you see those things, or whether you're just a casual fan, hopefully you see great energy, great juice, teammates celebrating with one another, having good energy, and then dudes just flying around for the football on defense. If you're just the casual fan, you're not going to know anything about execution. You're going to see the splash plays, but hopefully over the course of the night, you see great energy, you see guys flying around to the football, and then talking about the things that we emphasize.
How's your room doing with the linebackers? You have kind of 4 guys right now that are healthy that
Yeah.
you're able to work with, and it seems like really, other than David, there's not a lot of separation there.
Yeah, and that's by design. We have the above the line conversation a lot. The combinations of the lineups have switched every single week, and then the scrimmages, the live periods on Saturdays, who's played beside each other and been on opposite sidelines has been different every single time by design to see who works well together. So the competitive piece and the above the line concept is the best part of that. They have done good things at different times. They've had their off days at different times, so it creates great competition over the course of our 14 practices going into practice 15, which is the spring game. I'm really pleased with their development, really pleased with their attitude. All of those guys have been great off the field in the classroom, coming in, being very conscientious, taking the extra time off the field. They've just got to be consistent on the field to kind of separate themselves. The best thing about your comment, though, is we're creating quality depth. We're creating that above the line, 4 humans for 2 spots to be able to rotate in a game, which gives us a lot of confidence moving forward.
How's Charlie doing in terms of he's a guy who's undersized, but seems to have a knack for finding the ball.
So full disclosure, first day of practice, there were people in the organization, let's move him, let's move him. He can't play. He's never played linebacker before. He can't do it. He looks too awkward there. He looks too unnatural. It was amazing, I think, the last time I had a chance to be with you guys, his growth from practice 1 to practice 2. And I think that carried on. Again, as with so many of our guys, it's a consistency issue, but I still believe he's on the top end of skill level and just overall talent as far as our defensive roster, and he has to be a big part of what we do because we need the talent that he has. He's got to be more consistent with each and every day.
How would you assess the defense's ability to create pressure up through the spring?
Yeah, so we've done so many situational just periods during spring ball. So today we had a blitz period. So we were really aggressive and we created a bunch of negative plays. As much as we try to dictate what the offense does by being aggressive and combating tempo and us setting the tone, we've had so many situational periods. The only time where you could see our true personality has been on the weekends, on Saturdays. That's when we've confined our playbook a little bit. That's by design. So we've pared back our playbook so our guys can just have our base calls. They can go out, they can execute, and the things of just flying around to the football, seeing who can tackle, seeing who can make plays. We've kind of built that on the weekend. So in full disclosure, that'll be tomorrow night. Coach Collins, we'll have a big, cool play call sheet, and then we got to call like those 5 calls. So yeah. So but it's the right thing to do. We're still in spring ball. It's practice 15. I hope our kids can just go out, fly around, get easy, simple calls. We just had a period over there called one reel. The whole point of one reel is we would do that on a Thursday going into a game, get off their feet. They're all over there. They get a call. They communicate at the same time. They make all the adjustments. So we're more worried about them getting lined up, communicating, and then just executing their assignment with great energy and great technique.
You've been moving.
For the players that have been on defense and offense, I believe Jahaziel's
Yeah.
players. When it comes to actual spring game, how does that balance out? Like, is he and other players potentially going to play on both sides?
So I'm gonna kind of bring this back around to recruiting. So in recruiting, a lot of people say, you come here, you'll be able to play whatever. It's another tangible example to recruits as well that we're playing guys both ways. At the last place we were at, we have statistics of the Mike linebacker last year having carries. Keith Kirkwood, who's a starting wide receiver for the New Orleans Saints, has sacks and defensive production as well as being an elite wide receiver. Raquel Armstead should get drafted over the weekend. He had a sack, he had a TFL, he had production. So we're able to do that. So to answer your question, tomorrow night we'll have a Coca-Cola sideline, we'll have a Waffle House sideline, and they will be on those teams. Jahazel Lee can play offensive line on that sideline, and he can come in and play defensive line as well. Jair Hawkins, he can go play wide receiver, and then you'll see him play cornerback. So again, we talk about, position flexibility and bringing value to the team. So they'll have an opportunity to do that tomorrow night as well.
How do you feel about your defensive end position right now? You have kind of a wider array of guys, but not much game experience, really.
Yep. And as you guys know, follow it closely. We've got some help coming in to give us some experience. They've developed. Marco Coleman is an unbelievable coach. The image of what Georgia Tech football is going to be again is Marco Coleman, national champion 1990. First-round draft pick, 15-year NFL vet, all-pro. That's the image. He's doing a phenomenal job of developing that room in there. And then we've got guys that coming into spring ball, Jordan Dominic and Jaquan Henderson, have never played the defensive end position. So you're starting with a low expectation and then building off of that. Really pleased with their urgency and then how they've developed a little bit. Try to stay away from naming players, but to highlight someone that from the off-season workout to what they've done in spring ball that's really improved his stock. Kelton Dawson is playing at a high level. He's one that sticks out on the latter part of spring ball as far as improvement and then starting to be productive in live situations on the weekend. So long way to go, but progress.
I asked Coach Pat this a few minutes ago, but to flip it over on defensive side of the ball, when it comes to the checklist that you had coming into the spring, how do you evaluate where you guys are, how much you put in, how much you still have left to do?
Yeah. We went very high volume on the front end of spring ball, just the install. So that was by design. A lot of it, I told you before we ever started this thing, I told you guys, we don't know what we are. We know that we're an effort-based defense. We know we're a leverage-based defense. We know that we emphasize takeovers. Are we a 4-2-5? Are we a 4-3? Are we a 3-4? We've had a chance to put a lot of different structures in to where we're doing multiple things. We were high volume at the top end. We have very smart kids that have a high care level. So we were able to install a lot. And then in doing that, now we're able to take a step back once we get out of spring ball and go into the summer and see, kind of on film and evaluating with a step back what we're best at, what's our best personnel. We also have a bunch of different humans, a bunch of different incoming recruits, transfers that are coming in that will add value to those positions. So we'll kind of see what we're best at. So we went very high volume. That was at time at the cost of execution. But it was critical for us to get those things on tape, to get those concepts learned. And then as we've gone along, we've actually made it simpler as we've gone along and pared it back down. So we went high volume, pared it back down so we can get to nights like tomorrow night, so where we can have really good execution, have guys, again, just see who can make plays, who can tackle, who can create takeaways, and who can go out there and show out.
In that process of paring down,
Yeah.
have you eliminated some things that you're just not going to even attempt to bring back in the summer, or you might not focus them until summer cranks up again?
Yeah, I think it's just an emphasis on the latter end of let's get really good at the crux of what we do, right? And then some of the periphery things, some really cool, sexy third down blitzes or some situational things. Let's get those on tape so we can see them, and that way when we get back in fall, they've got a visual representation of them doing it, not looking at, to be honest with you, to not looking at Temple dudes doing it, looking at themselves running and executing a blitz when we go install it back into the fall. So that's kind of the idea. And then again, back to your point of paring down to here's the nuts and bolts of what we do. Let's get really good at our basis, and then we can always create different blitz patterns. We can always tweak a coverage per game plan to who we're playing.
Your safety position is probably the deepest in terms of the pure talent
Sure.
aspect. And it seems like you have probably 6 or 7 guys now that you could play in a game from what we see. Anyways.
Sure.
Is that kind of how you see it?
Yeah, and Coach Collins even acknowledged that maybe 2 team meetings ago. He said the words that we've got 5 safeties that are above the line if we were to go play tomorrow. So that just gives you positions flexibility. Again, when you talk about defensive personnel packages, when you get to passing situations, second and long, third downs, That's where there's so much value in those DB bodies. Yesterday we were able to put Tyreek Carpenter at the dime position, not to be confused with the will linebacker position, at the dime position, and have him be in space, make plays, but use his body type and still have elite level safeties in the back end as well. So that position flexibility is huge. Another piece of college football today, the rate at which you're defending plays, you're going to need them, and then those guys create the core of your special teams as well. So all of those guys we see as 4 core special team guys as well, which are as valuable as defensive reps.
You've tried some offensive linemen on the defensive line. Have you seen any of them that you feel like, well, maybe they can contribute on defense?
Sure. So we tried multiple dudes, Jahazel Lees of the world, the Austin Smiths, the Brad Morgans, so guys that when we came into the door, they were previous offensive linemen. I'm going to speak for Coach Knight right here. Probably the one that has stood out the most in terms of talent is Jahazel Lee. Now, the thing we have to identify as a football staff is he one of our best 7 offensive linemen as well, and you're kind of weighing the value of what he is, because he's a very good football player on both sides. But natural movement skills and then just guys that made plays when they had those opportunities, he really stood out. So, yeah.
Been at corner this spring just because of injuries and whatnot. And do you feel comfortable kind of with that group right now, or
Yeah.
is it still kind of a concern?
We feel like we've got a high level one in Trey Swilling, and he's really identified himself as an above the line guy. And then it's the opposite him. It's been kind of trial by fire a little bit. Those guys have developed. Coach Popovich has done a phenomenal job of teaching a new technique, and then more so than anything, they were more of an off-a-catch type of corner. We play more of an aggressive style. We'll mix the techniques up, but more so than not, they're going to be up closer to the line of scrimmage and play their press techniques. So that was new. With anything that's new, and as you're teaching and coaching, it takes some time, but it's something we need to address, and those guys will continue to compete all the way through the summer and then all the way through the fall camp, and we'll continue to add guys that are above the line right there. You've got guys like Huff, who's a high school freshman right now, that's as talented as any of them. It's a development deal. It takes time. It's a process.
Couple more.
When you think about your time at Temple in the spring games, what do you remember from those, and what are you most looking forward to tomorrow night?
Just letting the guys go compete. They work really hard. I mean, they're special kids. They're not to put them above, but they're elite kids. So they're at the Georgia Institute of Technology, one of the best academic institutions, and we demand a lot of their time. So they put so much time and effort into it, not just on the practice field that you guys kind of see, but off the field and the time that we meet and the things that we demand them to do and all the off-season stuff. Just go out and have some fun tomorrow night, right? Coaches will yell at you and correct you and constructively criticize you, but just go out and have fun and play the game that you love. So those are the things. This is the opportunity. I'm sure a lot of their families will be here. We're expecting a very good presence from the fan base, and just go enjoy the moment. Everyone is going to have the opportunity to play. No one is going to be in their feelings about playing time, because we need all of them to be able to get through a game tomorrow night. So just go out and have some fun. Yep. And then I'm sure, I don't know what's a secret or what's not, but I'm sure Coach Collins is, as you've noticed, likes to think outside the box. So I'm sure there'll be some ploys, and I'm sure there'll be some whatever people there, celebrities or whatever. I'm excited to see a bunch of the former players back, and should just be a high energy night, and some entertainment value, for people that come and show up.
In terms of, I guess, just the way you guys structured spring, having it 5 weeks instead of 4 like a lot of teams do you feel like that helped give the kids more time to absorb what you're doing? Is that kind of the theory behind that?
I absolutely love our schedule. So as you guys come out here, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays. So as you notice by schedule, there's always a day in between to get off the field, have an opportunity to go make the corrections on film, have an opportunity to install. You never, ever have that chance. Once you get into fall camp, it's every single day you're trying to correct mistakes from the previous practice, and then you're trying to install more defenses on the front end of fall camp. So spring is the best time for coaches to have an opportunity to slow things down and have a chance to teach and go at a slower rate.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, ladies.